Hey everybody, welcome. This week's new comic haul is pretty amazing. I think we're in some kind of golden age right now for comics for sure. Between the artwork and most of the time low print runs. You know, as long as you have an LCS close by and you guys are getting your reservations in every week, it's a great time to be a comic fan. So let's start it off with my favorite Absolute Batman. So issue 4 just came out, and it's another killer. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little apprehensive at first. There's a guest artist this week, Gabriel Hernandez Walta, and you know, it starts off with young Bruce on the stand testifying, and then it immediately flashes to like year one Gotham. And when I heard they were doing a year one, I didn't know if this version of Batman really needed it because it was such a reinvention. We were kind of along for the ride. And then to tell you the truth, when I started seeing this artwork, I was really nervous. But as the story just kept going, it was awesome. You know, like there's this story that goes all through it where young Bruce and his father are having a conversation about a bridge building competition. And at the same time, there's like this parallel narrative where it's the Batsuit being developed at the same time. And you know, as you read the book and you kind of get immersed into the story, Scott Snyder's is killing it as usual. You kind of start to get more drawn into the artwork, and by the end of it, I was pretty drawn by it. Right? And there's a few panels that are actually pretty well done. You know, and I was actually, to be honest with you, I was surprised. I didn't think a year one was needed, but I really enjoyed how they were showing these glimpses of what Gotham was like before the party animals showed up. And, you know, like I said, it kind of goes all the way with this bridge building competition the whole way through. And, you know, that was really what it was emphasizing as well, was that, you know, so often in the canon of Bruce Wayne, all of his passions come out of his parents' murder. And in this one, he already was an engineer at heart. And, you know, it just seems that his father's murder at the zoo kind of put it into a single-minded focus that he was going to use this talent and passion he already had for revenge. And, you know, I really like that dynamic of it. And again, by the end of it, the artwork was really growing on me. And like I said, it was really cool to see how the Batsuit was developed. And when it was flashing back to the criminal elite, you know, the criminal underworld, it was the usual suspects. It was the Falcones and Maronis and everything like that, you know, obviously linked into corporations like Ace Chemical, and then there was also linked into the politicians, you know, so the usual suspects in Gotham. Some of the variant covers are pretty cool too. Like, I love this. The axe is such a huge part of this new Absolute Batman. Loving that one. And then I really like this piece too. I believe it's like a party animal skull. Yeah, just really love the variants. Both those are cardstock. And so then the next one I got was Dark Patterns 2. So I actually read the first one of these digitally. I didn't pick up the first copy of it. And man, I just fell in love with it. Between the artwork and just the story in general, you know, I am really loving Absolute Batman. But there's something about the Dark Knight Detective that is just such a classic Batman story. And I'm telling you, Dan Waters, I've never read one of his stories before. He is killing it. Like this, the Wound Man is such a creepy new villain. And it's such a cool take where, you know, basically he's going into this thinking he's healing people and that he's the one helping them. And, you know, it's kind of a cool parallel where it's like there's this scene later on where Batman finds this town and there's like an effigy basically made for the Wound Man, and it says the Wound Man will heal us. And it's cool that, like, you know, it's kind of like this idea of Candyman in the movies where he's there to also save it's like he's a dark guardian, right? And they kind of have this same idea, and I love this idea that it's like a parallel where the Dark Knight's this superstitious figure, and then at the same time so is the Wound Man. And again, just to create a new villain finally is just such a cool, refreshing take on the traditional Dark Knight narrative. And you know, you see how these panel works are done, where like this one where this creepy new doctor character, he's like right in the cowl, the way they design the panels. So I really highly recommend that you go pick this one up. I think it's going to end up being a classic. Like even the Batmobile itself is such a cool design that they're doing for the Batmobile. So I actually went to a couple comic stores to go pick up the first edition as well. of the Dark Patterns, because I really do believe this is going to be a classic. And then when I went and picked that up, they actually had the variant cover of Dark Patterns 2. So I picked that up as well. And then the next ones we got this week is the new Aquaman run. So this is the variant cover with Mira on the front. And, you know, right away, this is the original cover. But right away, even with this variant, you just see how, like, I think it's John Timms. Yeah, John Timms is the artist and Jeremy Adams is the writer. And, like, you see this kaiju 2-page spread to start it off. It just pops. The colors are so vibrant, and you know, it's a really cool traditional old school Aquaman story. But then, you know, a lot of people are getting upset about this whole portrayal of him having Mira's powers in this version. But right away it shows you that Mira is the one that's kind of teaching him how to control those. So it's not like they're taking away her powers. It's just more that he's now has those added to his repertoire. But it's not diminishing her by any means as a figure. So you're seeing like a lot of this stuff is really cool. Classic, you know, Atlantis, the Aqua family. And then, you know, the one thing I have to say, you see him here as the king, you know, he's on his throne, but you see right the next page, it's like another kaiju attack. And like the one thing I have to say is that I don't know if they have a limited run on this or if it's just such a huge storyline that he has planned for it, that they just don't have enough room. But it felt like this was a really fast paced, and kind of too much. Like they really should have broke this up into a couple issues, I think. But overall, it's still really, really good story. And, you know, again, I'm loving, they had this whole line of like this pearl they found, I believe they found it in the Absolute Power. And, it ends up kind of making Atlantis teleport out. And, yeah, the JLA all make an appearance in this one as well. So yeah, so I guess it's like the mother of pearl box, you know, it's like a mother box. And so Atlantis kind of teleports out, and then there's ends up being this gateway with the Omega sign at the end. So amazing artwork, really cool, really love it. Here's an alternate cover. It's hard to see though because it's the foil. So obviously the lights for the camera, but you can see it there. Yeah. So yeah, those are the main ones I got. And then I got a couple, I picked up Magic issue 1. So just, I really like this cover. I thought the artwork was awesome. I know there's a variant with Marvel Rivals. It's actually kind of doing well for sales. I don't care about that. I just love the artwork. Personally, I'm not overall a big Marvel fan. I do follow Daredevil a little bit, mostly the old stuff. But yeah, this cover, I really like it. She's really cute, really cool. And then I picked up this Nemesis as well. I really like Nemesis. I had the first volume, so I picked up this one. He's just such a cool villain. He's almost like Batman and the Joker combined into one. Like, what if a crazy superhero was, you know, also at the same time the worst guy? He also kind of reminds me of Grim Knight from the Dark Metal universe, which is also one of my favorite variations of Batman. And then I picked up this Vampirella. You know, we all get into this, boys. We all get into this just for the artwork, right? For the artwork, right? Wow, look at that cover. Wow. Yeah, so overall, man, awesome comics this week. Super jacked about it. I can't tell you how much I'm happy with this Absolute Batman run. Snyder's just killing it. And then to have Dan Waters coming out with the classic one at the same time with Dark Patterns, super excited. So yeah, so let me know in the comments what you guys picked up this week. What you want to see more of. Let me know if you guys are reading any of these. If you guys have read Dark Patterns, let me know. I actually was at a comic book. I told you guys I was hunting for issue 1, and I met a guy there. He was just picking up Absolute Batman issue 4, and I was like, dude, have you read Dark Patterns? And so he ended up getting it, and he said the same thing, right? Like, I was kind of describing it a little bit, and he was like, dude, it sounds like it's like a classic detective story. And I was like, yeah, man. And he's like, I'm liking Absolute Batman, but I kind of want the one that's using his intelligence and everything, not this big hulking beast. And I mean, it's great to see this Absolute take on him. Obviously, you see I have the Noir edition frame behind me of issue 1. I love that. But at the same time, you know, there's something about that Dark Knight vigilante, hiding in the shadows, detective. He needs to use his wits about him. There's something about that guy. You know, I think we all fell in love with that Dark Knight to begin with. So let me know if you guys are reading Dark Patterns. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want more of this. I do my shorts and reviews all the time of the actual comic panels. So if you want to see more of this full kind of stuff, please subscribe and let me know in the comments what you guys think. Have a great day. Minotaur out.